Hello students, I am going to explain a theory that is really on the cutting edge of human sciences and how positive youth development derived from that theory. And I am going to explain out everything that I do for individuals that are um, maybe seeing impaired and can't see the screen. So please be patient, bear with me on that. I want to certainly make sure that the video is ADA compliant. Okay, so I am Anthony James, faculty member at Miami University in the Department of Family Studies and Social Work. So what I have here is Rdst, and sorry about my bad penmanship. It doesn't quite look like a T, but it's supposed to be a T, and that's spelled out here, and that stands for Relational Developmental Systems Theory. And this theory says that the course of development is regulated by bidirectional relationship between the person and the context in which he or she is embedded, or the multi-level context in which the person is embedded. So this figure you see here, which is a double-sided arrow with a P on one side and a C on the other, that is the person on one side and the context on the other. And the double-sided arrow is really representing bidirectional bidirectional interactions. And beneath the P, you see EMO, COG, and PHY. That's for emotional, cognitive, and physiological. And you can list some more levels of the person. Essentially, the person has these different things going on that change over the time through their interactions with their environment or the context. Under the C, you see FAM, PEER, and COMM. The FAM is for family, the PEER is for peers, and the COMM is for community. Again, you can list other ones like societal level for social policy, or well, community is there. I was about to say community. You can put school. And so the idea is that how a person develops over time is going to be regulated by interactions between that developing person and the multiple levels of context, both within the individual, which is the emotional, cognitive, physiological changes or social changes, and outside the person, where I guess that would be the social changes in the family, the peer, community. And so through those interactions, that's what regulates this person's development, whether or not they are on a trajectory that is plateaued or straight, or if they are on a trajectory that is going up, or if they're on a trajectory that is going down. Okay, now if I move to the center column, you see the acronym ADR. That stands for Adaptive Developmental Regulations. And what this means is that when the interactions between the person and the context are mutually beneficial, that is known as adaptive developmental regulations. So that development or course of development is adaptive for the person. Okay, so let's think about this for a moment. If a person has a stable family environment, so they're interacting with that family, they're more likely to have less anxiety. So their emotional regulation is more stable. Okay, and so that is an example of adaptive developmental regulation because, oh, I'm sorry, let me explain one more point before I go there. And so if that person has low anxiety, in the or sort of moderate anxiety, and they're able to function well with the members of their family, then what you have here is mutual benefits. So the person is in an environment that is stable, and that stable environment helps that person's emotions be stable. And so both sides of this graphic representation of bidirectional interactions is beneficial. So the person is benefiting, but the context is also benefiting because that person is fitting well within that environment. That's what's known as adaptive developmental regulations. And that's why there is this mutual, and then I have PC, and then interactions. So that's what it's representing, the mutual benefits between the person and the context, or the interactions between them. Okay, lastly, we have positive youth development. Positive youth development, or PYD, derived from relational developmental systems theory, okay, or RDST. And PYD theory actually emphasizes adaptive developmental regulations, or that they try to encourage or advance positive interactions between the person and his or her multiple levels of the environment. And they actually, or this theory actually conceptualizes positive development in 5 ways through its 5C model. So the first C is competence. Does a person have knowledge of the different environments they are interacting with? Does a person have confidence? So is the person confident that they have the abilities to navigate that environment? Does the person have good character? The third C. So do they have a good moral compass? Do they respect and understand the rules of the environment, and so forth? Then you have connections. Does the person have good connections with those in their environment, particularly sustained relations with positive and caring adults? And finally, caring. Does the person have empathy for those around them? And so as youth are able to develop these 5 C's through interactions with their environment, that is thought to produce a 6th C called contribution. And what this is the person uses the skills that they have developed through interactions with their environment to make contributions back to those different social institutions, community, family, school, peer groups, whatever the case may be. And so that's essentially how the PYD model works. Lastly, there's an important concept which hopefully you pick up on, that really gives us hope, which gives us a reason for why we work with youth. If we have a young person that is doing well, we want to make sure they continue to do well. Or if we have a young person that isn't doing so well, how do we change their developmental trajectory so that they can be on a positive pathway? Well, that's really through this concept we call plasticity, which is that through systematic changes in that PC interaction, that we can change the intra or individual trajectory. Okay, so if a person is not doing so well, through changes in that environment, in that person, we can place them on a positive path where they're able to develop the C's. Or if a person is already doing well, we can make sure they are staying in environments that allow them to continually thrive. Okay, and so plasticity is really what gives us hope. It ties back to that piece of optimism, function of developmental science, that we want to optimize the development of the person. Okay, so that is relational developmental systems theory, adaptive developmental regulations, and positive youth development. Thank you for listening.